Besties, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be sewing up the Tulia backpack by Mariam. I'm going to go ahead and insert a little bag tour I did here. Unfortunately, I sold the bag before I was recording the intro, so this was a custom order I had to do for a friend of a friend, and it turned out so cute. I'll definitely be making this again. So here's a little view of what the Tulia looks like originally by the designer. It's very cute. As you can see from the bag tour, we went ahead and omitted the front strap. I did do that on the very first version I ever did. I'm going to insert a picture here. But on this one, I just wanted to try something a little different. Things I changed up on this one from the original, I added a front slip pocket inside that main big pocket on the front. I just added a slip pocket. I'll give the measurements for that. I didn't do the front handle, and I also added elastic on the interior gusset to hold a water bottle if you want to slip something in there. The final dimensions of this bag are 11 inches by 11 inches by 5 inches deep. Something I do next time I sew this, I'd make the interior gusset piece one piece. I don't think you really need 3 separate pieces for any reason unless you're trying to mix and match fabrics. So that's something to save a little time on sewing and cutting. I do rate this an intermediate pattern just because of the way the pockets are attached takes a little practice. It's something you can definitely get the handle of. Just sew them on in the way I showed you on this, and it's the best way to make sure your pockets don't shift and get a little cattywampus. But trust me, I have had my fair share of wonky pockets like this. Today we sewed with a size 19 needle. My thread is from Sunny Sewing Machines. It's a Mon thread Tech 70, and the colorway is 4443, I believe is what it is. So that is our thread we use today. Of course, as always, I sew on a Juki 1181N. It's an industrial machine. The fabrics in this bag, the pink glitter on the outside is from Mormino. I think it's called Ballet Slipper Pink, if I'm right. I bought it a few years ago, so I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that's it. The inside waterproof canvas, the white stuff, is just from Fabric Wholesale Direct. I do have an affiliate link below. The little character heads print is from Backstitch Fabrics. It is very old, but you might be able to find some in their buy-sell trade group. And the really cute bag plate I use on this bag is from a company that was called Level Up Hardware Designs. I don't believe they're in existence anymore, but I still wanted to use it, so I'm sorry, but I thought it added such a cute touch. I also used some self-adhesive binding from Fabric Therapy on this bag. It's the Luxe bound, so it's a little bit smaller, but it's almost, it's like ribbon-like. It's really nice. And the zipper tape and the webbing are from Amazon. I ran out of white with nickel teeth tape, so I needed some ASAP because I had to get this bag done for an order. So those are from Amazon. I'll put them in my Amazon storefront. That's also linked below, but in a pinch it worked great. It was actually really good quality tape. I was surprised pleasantly. In the poles, I had just bought a big bag of like nickel poles that I put on bags that sometimes I just want like a regular nickel pole, and I go through the pop tabs from Mormino so fast that sometimes most times I go to use them, I've already used them all. So I always have that backup stash, and that's in my store as well. I just want to thank Mariam for allowing me to film this tutorial. Really appreciate it. This was one of the first bag patterns she came out with when she started her Patreon. If you haven't checked out Mariam's Patreon, you should. She sells patterns now in her Etsy storefront. Older patterns, she's starting to go through and revamp them since they were more her first ones, and she was still working things out. So this was one of those patterns. There's an ebook, but it's not detailed step-by-step instructions like she puts out now. So I thought it might be helpful to go ahead and do a tutorial for it. I really like the functionality of this bag. I'm thinking that the next time I make it too, I'm going to shrink the side pockets just a little bit. I know that I've heard from Sarah that the conversion from their system into ours, when we print out pieces, it's not exact. So when you print out these pattern pieces, you might have some cut off on the lines, and I kind of just fudged it. Not fudged it, but you know what I mean? I just like completed the line where it looks like would be the logical place. It still worked out great. And I'm sure that Sarah is in the works for making this a full ebook. But for now, you can join her Patreon and get full access to all of the patterns on there. When you join for $10 a month, you don't have to sign up for a whole year. You can just literally pay $10 for 1 month and get access to all the patterns. That is an amazing deal, let me tell you. So she has tons of really fun designs, unique stuff you don't really see a lot here in the States. So I appreciate her eye for design. And this bag has so many options. We just did a slip pocket. It's a padded like text sleeve. I can fit a regular iPad in there. It's a little bit too small for a full-size iPad Pro. This is a 2-bobbin bag. I'm not sure if I said that, but it is. One thing about this bag too, I just want to give a little tip. When you're cutting the gussets for the pockets that you stitch on, do not interface the vinyl. I cannot stress this enough. It seems like it will be too flimsy with just regular vinyl, no interfacing, but I promise you it is not. It gets bulky fast. So do not interface any of your vinyl for any of the pocket gussets. That's a pro tip. I also use some boning stabilizer in this. I actually really love it. Because it's such a wider of a gusset, you have the binding on the outside that acts as support, and then putting the boning right along the zipper just pops that up real nice. I do recommend that. If you don't have it, it's linked to my Amazon store. It's super easy to use. Anybody can use it. You're not sewing over it, so go ahead and grab some because you're going to like it for bags with gussets. For pricing this bag, I would price this bag anywhere from $175 up to probably $300 depending on what kind of options you do. This bag does take quite a bit of time with the pockets, and it takes a lot of skill and precision to, at least for me, to feel comfortable enough. It took me quite a few to sell that and offer that as a service. It also depends on the materials you use, and it does take quite a bit of webbing. So webbing's kind of expensive. And I used a bag plate, so that factors into it. This specific bag I would probably sell for $225. But I traded it for a service, so I don't have an actual price I could give you. If I had to price it though, I'd price it at $225. But I do have friends who make and sell, and they sold their bags like this, like $200, $300 all day, depending on options. So just wanted to let you know that's kind of helpful for me to kind of know, like, what are people buying them for? And that's the research I have. For hardware, we're gonna use I got a piece of fold over elastic. It's 1 inch. I probably got it from Amazon or Etsy. We're gonna add some water bottle loops on the inside of the bag. I got a couple bag tags. I don't know where the heck I'm gonna add them, but I want to. I have this bag plate. I got it from a place called Level Up Hardware Designs. I'm not sure they're still in existence, but I got them years ago. We're going to put that on the front. 2 1.5 inch slider adjusters. 2 1.5 inch rectangle rings. This bag needs 5 zipper pulls. I didn't have any cute ones that were like the right color. I need to like go through my zippers. There's an organizer coming this weekend for it. Not that you needed to know that, but anyways. 5 zipper pulls. I have 2 36-inch length cuts of 1.5 inch webbing. I'm not sure where I got this webbing, but there's 2 36-inch straps in here. And then I have, these are for the D-ring connectors that go on the bottom of the straps for the backpack. But I also have only one handle cut. I'm not going to do the handle in the front. I'm just going to tuck this handle underneath the overlay, but I'm going to make this like a fold over like this, if that makes sense. And then tuck it behind there, because I don't want to, that's why. That's all, that's the only reason. So we only have one handle cut for this tutorial way. So we have the side zipper gussets. So these are going to be on the top of the side zipper pockets. Basically, our zipper will be sandwiched in between here, and this part will be connected to the bag. So this is, do not interface these. You're going to regret it. Don't do it. So these are for the zipper gusset. So it's the top part of the side pockets. These are the bottom gussets of those same side pockets. And then it's the same thing for the front pocket. We have the zipper gusset and then the bottom of that gusset, okay? I did these from a Mormino glitter vinyl, and it's not a super thick glitter vinyl. It's one from a few years ago that's a little bit thinner than her stuff now. So these are going to be for the pocket gussets. Our main zipper gussets for the top of the bag for entry into the backpack are interfaced with Decaville Light. So we have 2 cuts of these. Now I'm going to be making I'm going to attempt a slip pocket on the inside of the front pocket. And to do that, I just have an 8-inch piece of, it's 8 inch by 1 inch for coordinating for the top of the slip pocket trim. And then this is just an 8 by 8 piece, and I folded in the long, one of the edges on both sides, you know, in 1/2 inch. The lavender and twine method. So that'll go inside of our front pocket because I wanted a little slip pocket for that front pocket. This is going to be our zipper gussets, the main zipper gusset liner. It's just white waterproof canvas. These are the side pockets, the exterior and the liners. This is from Backstitch a few years ago, and I have interfaced it with Sewfuse Plus. I also added Decaville Light out of the seam allowance. You just use the pattern piece, and so I printed out 2 copies of the pattern pieces, and then I just cut on the dotted line for the second set, and those are my interfacing pieces. So we have 2 of each for the side pockets. We have a similar situation with the front pocket. Same materials, 1 of each, and that will be the front pocket. For the back of the bag, this is the overlay for the straps that come out. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, here are my sides, and basically the side pockets get attached to the sides. And I have a liner here for the interior part, so it's the same thing. It's going to be my waterproof canvas and the glitter vinyl from Mormino. These are the side connectors to attach for the webbing for the very bottom of the bag. Okay, I have my base. There's exterior and a lining. I'm not going to add purse feet on this because it is kind of small. It's more of a mini backpack, even though it's the medium size. I have my main front and back. They're the same glitter vinyl, and they are interfaced with Decaville Light out of the seam allowance. Here's the corresponding linings. The client likes Beauty and the Beast, and so I just thought this would be a good print for them. And I don't have a Beauty and the Beast that matches this pink. It's only like more reds and blues and like primary, so I thought, well, this is fun. And you get like more than just Beauty and the Beast characters. I also am going to do a slip pocket on the inside, like a little tech sleeve. I'm going to be putting a piece of foam stuffed right in here before I attach it on and then trim it down. I don't have the foam cut yet, but this is just a piece of waterproof canvas. It's one big piece. I just folded it and mirrored it. If you take the main pattern piece, there's a line that says like slip pocket, and I just folded that and I traced it, and then I just flipped it over and kept tracing it and made it one big piece and just folded it in half and ironed it. It seemed the easiest way. And these are I'm also going to add some foam in here. Since there are pockets and it kind of pulls on it, I thought it would be useful just to add a little extra fluff. It won't be in the seam allowance. I'm keeping everything out of the seam allowance for this bag. But I just thought it would help make that front panel stable for everything we got going on it. We have 2 9-inch zippers. These will be for the side pockets. Okay, this is an 11, it says 11 5/8 zipper, and this is for the front pocket. And the main zipper is 16.5 inches. Okay, we have our side pockets, our side gusset bottoms, and our side gusset zipper top gussets. That's a lot of gussets there, but you get what I'm saying. We're also going to need our 2 9-inch zippers and our zipper pulls. So first thing we're going to do is sandwich these two together. Before we begin, I'm going to find the center of the top and the bottom of these pockets. You'll need to have the centers for attaching these gusset rings. And I forgot to mention before, but you're also going to need binding. This bag has a lot of binding, so. Alright. Go ahead and baste these together. I'm going to do one side pocket with you all the way, and then you'll just repeat for the other side. We're going to take a top zipper and find the center of this. Add double stick tape down the long edges. And stick those long edges to the line you drew. Go ahead and take double stick tape again, and you're going to run the double stick tape down the long edge again. Now you're going to take a zipper. I'm not going to attach my pole yet, but this zipper gets sandwiched in between here. So I'm going to undo one of the tapes, and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to leave myself probably about a 1/4 inch from the teeth. You want the zipper pull to be able to open well. And then go ahead and take the tape off the other side and fold it to meet this line. So you're encasing your raw edge of your zipper tape right in here. If you want to save even more bulk, you can go ahead and just have this be a raw edge along here. It's a good option. Now I'm going to just check off the bottom gusset and make sure, because this will essentially be sandwiched inside, and this should fold in half to meet the raw edge here, and it does fit in there, so I just want to like triple check I didn't leave too much space here. Now go ahead and top stitch down this line here. Now go ahead and add a zipper pull, and just note the way you add it on this side is going to be the opposite of the other side, so that your pulls both come to the forward or both go to the back. So they need to be added on opposite sides, okay? So on this one I have the pole attached on this side, and on the next one I make, I'll attach the pole on this side. Now you're going to take the side pocket gusset bottom, and I'm going to just put a little line of double stick tape down here. This is a slippery vinyl because it's glitter vinyl, so it's just a little too wibbly wobbly. I'm going to take off the tape, and you are essentially going to put your zipper tape right up against the raw long edge like this. So it lines up like that. So go ahead and fold this in like that. Now we're going to sew this with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'm going to trim this down just around this seam here because it gets pretty thick. I'm not cutting my zipper tape, I'm just trimming down that one corner. And you're going to do the same thing for this edge. Takes a little finagling, but line up this raw edge down here. And fold this over and around to meet. Okay, sew this edge with 3/8 inch. Okay, now you're going to pull it out. And this is your gusset ring. You can go ahead and pull these tight here and top stitch across there if you want. Not necessary, but you can. And we're going to line up this gusset ring and we are going to baste this edge closed. I'm going to top stitch this side seam here just because that's usually how we make our bags here. Okay, now you're going to find the centers of the top and the bottom on both sides. I'm just going to cut it on the raw edge side and use my marking pen for the zipper tape. For this opposite side, this is the side that will be attached to the bag, so you don't want to necessarily use a marking utensil. That's going to be hard to remove, but it's a little hard to mark, I'm going to be honest, because we're going to be sewing on the outside, so I'm not going to cut it, right, because that would not make sense. So we're just going to leave it for now, but we do have the interior marks that are going to be attached to our main panel here. So you take your main panel, put your gusset ring wrong side out. If you have directional print, attach the top to the top of the zipper tape. And it's basically right sides together. I'm not going to be clipping into my seam allowance for the zipper tape. If you're comfortable doing that, you can. Okay, now that we have this attached with clips, we're going to baste it on with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I will be sewing with my gusset on my machine, like this, not with the main panel down. So gusset on the machine, baste at an 1/8, then we're going to do our actual shape at a 1/4, and then we'll put binding on and attach it at a scant 1/4. I'm going to move the camera view so you can see a process of doing that. Okay, there you go. It's attached. At this time, just make sure you don't have any holes. If you have any overhang, like right here, see how it happens to me every time. Just trim it down, because now when you do your final sew, you'll actually get a true 1/4 inch seam allowance for what's left. Now this one, see, I didn't attach it all the way right here, so we're gonna kind of tuck that in. I do see I have just a smidge of overhang here, so I'm just gonna trim it and just really make sure I'm mindful. I'm gonna put a clip here so I can remember this is where it's not attached. Okay, everything else looks good. I got a little bit of overhang right here. Do not cut your zipper, but you can cut the main panel here to line it up. Okay, now we're going to sew our stitch that will determine the size, the final shape in here. So be careful, go slow. This is going to be at a 1/4 inch. So now we're done with that. If you are having trouble getting a true 1/4 inch seam allowance here because of the zipper tape, go ahead and use your zipper foot if you need to. But now if we turn it out, you can see, and this is glitter vinyl, so if you're using glitter vinyl, you definitely do not want to interface it on the gussets. Wowie, is it hard. But that is what our pocket ends up looking like. It's really nice. I still need to bind it, but I just wanted to check the shape. Everything looks really nice to me. So let's go get some binding and attach it on. I'm gonna use the binding from Fabric Therapy. It's sticky backed, so it'll make it super easy to use. I'm going to attach it, it's basically a sticky ribbon. I'm going to attach it down here on the side, and I just basically hit the seam allowance here right in the middle of the ribbon and then press it down. It's very sticky, so it's a good thing. I don't really need clips, but as you come around these curves, you kind of pull on it. It doesn't have a lot of pull, but you can kind of pull it a little bit so that you can kind of minimize your wrinkling on the corners. So when you have tighter curves, you do get a little bit of wrinkling. If that bothers you, you might want to try something stretchier. This is not stretchy at all, but it does make for some really good stiff binding, and it's nice on these curves that are kind of tighter to make sure it stays in place and doesn't slip out from under your needle. So we're going to go ahead and attach this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, there we go. It is bound, and we have a completed zipper side pocket. You can go ahead and turn it right side out, because when we attach this, we will be sewing it right side up. Just tuck those corners, fold your binding as like under this part is where you're gonna fold your binding and push out. You kind of have to finagle it a little, you know, really push it out. But there is one completed side zipper pocket. So we're going to attach this part onto our side panels, but we're going to worry about that later. Right now I want you to go ahead and repeat this for the front pocket and the other side pocket. Please be mindful, on the other side pocket, have your zipper pull going the opposite way for closing. So it should be closed over here on this side, okay? Opposite of what this one is. It doesn't have to be, but if you want your zipper pulls to be going both to the front or both to the back, you need to make sure you mirror this, okay? Okay, now we're going to build our front panel. So I have my completed pocket, the front zipper pocket. We're going to put on our bag plate on the top above the pocket once we're done with the pocket. And that's when we'll put this on our seam allowance. So we're going to set that aside for now. First, we're going to build this little tiny slip pocket. So to build this little slip pocket, this is an 8x8 piece of waterproof canvas. And I folded in 2 opposing sides, 1/2 inch, and folded it in half. This has been ironed. I'm going to go ahead and take some double stick tape and just run it along this top edge. I don't like to machine base this in place with my sewing machine. I'm gonna just line up these top edges here. This is an 8x1 piece of trim, and I'm gonna just mark a 1/2 inch up for the center of it. I'm gonna put some double stick tape down these long edges. Take your slip pocket and center it a little bit below the line. We're going to trim off the excess here, but I'm going to take my woven tag and get ready to put it right in place here. So fold over this trim and tuck in the waterproof canvas. Get my little woven tag in here. Okay, we're going to top stitch down this edge. We're going to start where the edge of the slip pocket is and stop at this other edge here. Go ahead and use your scissors to trim off the excess of the slip pocket trim. There you go. Go ahead and grab your main panel piece for your front. So your slip pocket needs to be, we'll say, one and a half inches up centered from the bottom. Take off your tape. And go ahead and place this down. Make sure you're in the middle here. It's about 1 1/8, a little over 1 1/8 from one side. About 1 1/8, yep. Alright, now we're going to stitch this down. On all 3 of these sides, backstitch really well at the beginning and end. Now draw your line again that is 3/4 inch up from the bottom edge here. And you can line up your template for your front pocket again on that line. So look at our pocket is pretty well centered. That should be a good measurement. Alright, get your pocket, and you're going to want to center. Now this is going to be hard, okay? You can add some tape to these long edges, and we're going to sew this on in segments. Okay? adding tape to the long stretches. And we're going to basically sew the top and the bottom on first. We're going to pull our thread tails to the back. And then we're going to sew the left side and then the right side. And then we'll go around and do each corner and connect. It is kind of tedious, but the end result is amazing. So just stick with it. Hopefully your materials are such that it is a little easier for you. And I'm only unsticking a little, like the top and then the bottom, if that makes sense. This does take practice to get nice and even at. And we're gonna wanna check it before we sew it down, if that makes sense. So just kind of holding it here. Does that look centered? It does to me. So we will go ahead and keep that there. Fold it down, and then you're gonna just top stitch this down. Okay? Pull your thread tails to the back. Don't worry about all that. Smush your pocket, it's fine. Pull these to the back. Okay, we're going to repeat the same with the top. I'm going to keep it zipped. Okay, so far so good. Now, pick a side, pull that tape off, and you want to kind of push this around where your template corners are. Tape came off. How useful. Thanks, tape. MVP. Lord. So my top I probably should have pulled down a little bit because there's no way I'm gonna make these corners. No way. But as long as they're even, it's okay. I kind of want to make sure this bottom is on here right, so I'm just going to keep the bottom nice. And is this bottom nice? Alright, and does it still look even? It still looks even. I'm going to just sew down this straight edge now. Now we'll put on the other side. Okay, now you're going to sew from this hole to this hole, and you're just going to ease this gusset on around. You can unzip and stick your hand in there to help. Pull your binding out. And Dovetails off. Okay, so after you unrumple your corner again, there you have it. It's attached on like that, okay? And pull your thread tails to the back, but that entire corner is done now. And you can see our slip pocket, it's fitting well in there. I think that was a good placement. And let's see if my phone can slide in here. May not be able to. It's tight fit, but it does fit. So if you keep it at the 8x8, it will fit in there. Most people aren't going to slide their phone in there probably, but you could. It just fits in here too. See? Your phone just fits there too, but now you have a slip pocket. You can put some money in or something. Alright, go ahead and finish this for the other 3 corners. Okay, I just finished tying off all the threads on the back. I'm going to use my finger and just push out this gusset a little bit, push this to the front, roll all these, and hopefully it looks centered. I think we did pretty good. So now we are going to want to put some double stick tape on this piece of foam. You're just going to kind of line this up where you already put your duck of a light. It should go right where it is with the duck of a light. Okay. Let's figure out where we want this bag plate. That's about where they're at. Every washer is going to be a little different. This is about 3.5 inches down, but I'm gonna want my marks more here. Okay. Since this is such a big bag plate, you can kind of wing it. If it's not right when you put it in the first time, you can go ahead and recut your slits, because nobody will know. It'll be hidden by the plate. Put it in and see how it looks. Measure it, make sure it's centered, all that jazz. Okay. So you can see it's up a little bit, and that's fine. You can cut the slits so it can be shimmied. But what I want to do is measure. Alright, we're going to need to make this cut a little lower. And this top cut a little higher. There we go. See, and now you can just kind of rotate it straight. Oh, that is freaking cute. Now what I'm going to do is measure from the top and see how far it is. So it is 3 and almost 3/8. So make sure this side's the same. 3 and 3/8. Basically, we nailed it right on the money. We can shift it a little this way. Okay. That looks straight to me. How nice is that? Dang. Okay. Get your little washer, and because we have this foam, we don't have to worry about anything. I'm gonna fold these in, and I'm squishing the foam down as I'm folding it in. I get some duct tape and put it on the back of that. Hold your prongs in place. So there you go. We have a fully functioning zippered pocket with a slip pocket front. with a cute little bag plate. We'll go ahead and... That's my favorite part. Front is done. The front is done. What I'm going to do now is we're going to switch to the back and totally build the back panel. I just need a break from this kind of pocket from attaching it on the sides. So we'll do that when we build the main gusset, but I need a break right now. I'm sure you get it. Before we move on to that though, go ahead and get your lining. So this is the lining. I'm not going to put my slip pocket on this lining. And I want the client to see this when they open their backpack, and the slip pocket would cover this. I honestly, what freaking character is this? It's frightening. Who is it? So we're gonna put this one with the little bell and all that on the back of the front where the slip pocket isn't going to be. So go ahead and clip these wrong sides together and baste them, you know, at an 1/8 inch seam allowance. So our front is done. We've basted the lining on, our centers are marked, and our pocket is attached. So now we're going to work on completing the back panel here. And then we'll do the side gusset, or then we'll do the gusset, and we'll be great. Okay, we're going to go ahead and build our back panel here. This is the strap cover, and I'm going to put some 1/2 inch sticky tape just in these corners to help hold down the vinyl, since it's a little bit of a, I don't want to say a thick vinyl because it's really not thick, but it has like this rubbery plasticky coating on the outside, and so she don't like to stick down. She like to live free. Okay. And then we'll put some 1/4 inch tape down these long edges. But Amber, do you really need that much tape? Listen, little do you know, this is the second time I'm doing this, okay? Secrets out of the bag! Yeah, just tape the shit up because it's gonna go on here anyways, face down, you know. These long parts I'm not worried about. We're gonna just go ahead and get our scissors. The corners are where you gotta get it down, okay? We're cutting big triangles. We're staying about a 1/4 inch. Okay, start right in the center of that. Big triangles, bestie. Big ones. Not these little dainty things. Now is not the time for dainty. Go a little past, go a little past. And you will see that, yes, my vinyl looks so crazy cut. You can do that because we're folding it over this. It doesn't matter, okay? I'm gonna trim down a little bit right here. Yeah, just a little, girl. Not much. Not much. All right, this corner's a little out of control. Right at the corner. Big triangle, okay? It's got to be a whitey. No. You gotta go a little bit past. That's like way too big. I never said this was an exact science, but I might have just screwed myself on that last cut. Alright, we're just gonna work with a 1/2 at a time. So, peel off the straight edge here. Get the corners. I'm using 1/2 because this stuff is the stickiest stuff I own. And I really want this to stick. Okay? But the key is some wide triangles. Okay. So, I'm going to go right in the center and boop it down. You booped. You can't go nowhere. Girl, you unlock. And then we're going around. Push it down. Yep. Pushing it real good. Okay. We can breathe. We can breathe. We did it, bestie. This little corner, she cut it close. Okay, there's like no tape right where I need it. Oh, lucky me. We're just gonna cut this world's smallest strip and put it just right there. These corners are a little bit, now, if you have thinner vinyl, it's fine. You can do fabric, you can do waterproof canvas. There's a lot of other options, but I'm trying to be matching. So this is like my punishment. Oh, you want to match? Corners aren't gonna stay down. Okay, we actually did good. We did good. Now get a clip. You need a clip until you can sew this down. Ooh. See, that half-inch tape is sticky. I know it seems silly to have all of these little clips, but trust me. From the girl who's doing take 2. Okay. This one. See, it already came undone, and this is my sticky stuff. The problem is there's like no sticky right in the very... You can try glue. Glue might be your friend here. I don't know. Glue is personally on a no list for me. I mean, I will if I have to, but I'd rather not. Ooh, that was a good press there. That was a good press. Okay, and there you have it. I'm just gonna fold it down around all these. Now, if you want to simplify this, you can kind of like go the Handmade Lens Sport backpack way and just do like a strip of vinyl across that top and tuck everything under. But I do feel like this is kind of a Tulia thing right here, right? Like, my girl Tulia gets down like this with her backpack strap covers, so I don't want to take away her sparkle, okay? Everybody gets to shine here. It's a lot more work, but it's a choose your own adventure. Well, this just looks silly, all these clips, but I'll be happy in a minute. Okay. And we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Look up on. Good job! You should be really proud of this, okay? I bet you half the population of the world couldn't do this. Just cut myself a 9-inch strip of 1-inch webbing. I did have this as 1.5 inch in the beginning, but 1.5 inch is really too big for this overlay with the 1.5 inch straps. Okay, find the centers of this panel if you haven't already. If you wanted to add a zipper pocket here, you could. I'm not going to. This is for an 8-year-old, so it's kind of like, don't really need to. 3.5 inches down. We're going to mark a line. Just kind of in the middle here a little bit. Make sure it's even. Okay, looks pretty dang good to me. This is where we're going to be attaching everything. So go ahead and also denote on this line where the center is. So I'm just going to drop down that center marking. This is like the only thing that writes on glitter vinyl. I know it seems wild that a pen would be it, but it wipes off, so it works. I did test it on a little piece. You can take your handle. I'm going to get some double stick tape and just put it down along here. This will be in the middle of my connector of my overlay. I don't need to wipe it off, but now it will be permanent. Okay. That's fine. There we go. Take your handle and you're just gonna put it right along that line, butt it up next to each other. This 1/2 inch tape is so sticky. Oh. Okay. just like that. I'm gonna make a mark that is 1/2 inch down from the end that's gonna be tucked underneath. Okay, 1/2 inch, and then connect the corner down the opposite corner like this, okay? This is gonna be our angle. Do it on both. Now we are going to cut this. Then we're going to fire it. Okay. Now, right next to that one, we're going to angle these straps out this way so they are comfy on our back, okay? And we're going to just put it right next to it and right along this same line. Boop, boop, boop. You can overlap them if you want to. I'm not gonna. You can. And I did check that these straps should be long enough for a little kiddo. Okay? It'll be long enough for me. I got big pits. Just kidding. I'm not kidding, I do, but you know what I'm saying. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and wind up these little noodles. Okay, now we're gonna take our overlay. What are we gonna call this? I just keep calling it a connector. It's not what it is. I'm going to put one piece of sticky tape right in the middle. And what you're going to do is center this over that. Okay? This goes right over that, centered-ish. Let's see exactly where it is. It is going to be, it's a 1/4 inch seam allowance to attach this to the gusset. So you just kind of got to be, it's going to be a tricky business here. First thing I'm going to do is we're going to unclip just the bottom here. Push it on. But I need to be able to like make sure it's even. I don't want to put more tape right there, but I might have to. I'm really just looking for this to be straight along this bottom edge, so this is straight on here, if that makes sense. So I think it's going to be probably what, 9 inches up? 8 inches up. Yeah, that's perfect. 8 inches up and kind of center it. This is going to take a while. Before I unclip all these top corners here and have the issue of everything wanting to pop out because it's wild, I'm going to start my top stitching to hold, like, basically it's more than top stitching, but it's going to look like top stitching. We're going to start it over here, so I grab this corner and this corner, and then I'll unclip this one as I go, okay, and make sure everything stays flat. I'm going to do this at a 5. Alright, let's go. I'm going to pull my thread tails to the back, so I'm not back stitching. So the overlay, the strap overlay is done. I'm going to do one more row of stitches right along just to help secure it. You can even add some rivets if you want to. I'm not going to. This is like a small backpack and it's for a little kid, so I'm gonna go ahead and zip around one more time. Okay, the strap anchor is done. And we even got our little handle here. Perfect. So now we're gonna make our triangle connectors. Okay, take your triangle connector and fold it in half. I'm gonna pin it here. You're gonna take this little strip of webbing is 4 inches long. I'm gonna just thread the rectangle ring on it. I'm gonna add a little line of double stick tape right along this short edge. You could sew it if you want, but I just find you don't need to waste the machine time. Okay, so there's that. You're gonna slide this webbing into this stitch, but you see the hardware makes it hard to keep it up there and even, right? So just kind of fold this little part down to make, we're just gonna make room for our hardware. Okay, I'm gonna put it like 3/8 of an inch out. You can do whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm just trying to keep it butted up next to the seam right here. So whatever works for that for you. And as we're sewing this, I'll slowly fold this out of the way so I don't catch it when I'm sewing it. So we're gonna do a 1/4 inch seam allowance along this edge only. Okay. Now you're gonna cut out the seam allowance just around here. We're just trimming it down so it lays nicer. Okay. Pull this out and roll this seam out. Since it's glitter vinyl, it's a little bit, this isn't too thick. I didn't put any stabilizer, as you can see. I'll cut that off in a minute. We're gonna sew all 3 edges. Whoa. It's gotta be worth some points. I caught it with the back hit. Okay, so you can see these are gonna go on the bag like this, pointed upward here. And so this one needs to mirror that, so they're pointing up. So I'm gonna top stitch on this side. That's how I kind of figured that out. Now you can trim up this edge. So attaching these on, it's not too much crazy. It's like right before it starts to curve, you're just gonna stick them to the side. And we are gonna baste these on. You want to make sure they're even. So this is 1.5 inches up from the bottom is where you're gonna put these connectors. Perfect. And because we left out 3/8 of an inch of the webbing on the inside of this, it should be kind of pretty much out of your seam allowance. You're not sewing through webbing on this part. Alright, baste these on. Take your strap. And thread your slide adjuster onto your strap. So it is right side up, like that. Now what you're going to do is with this right side up, you're going to loop it up and over and through this rectangle ring, and then come up to the connector here. These are slim adjusters, the slide adjusters, so they should be pretty well. You're going to go through the top of it and then go through the bottom. I mean, you can do it the other way, but then you're going to have the folded edge of your webbing rubbing against the body. And then you're going to fold this under and it's going to go down on top of this webbing. Leave yourself enough room to do either a box or 2 rows of stitching down here. Okay, we're going to go stitch this on and then we'll repeat the same process with this one. Our back is now complete. So we're going to move on to the lining side of this. We can put our foam on here, and then it's okay if this comes up a little bit because it'll be sandwiched anyways, but we can go ahead and build the lining part of this. I'm just going to personally add a slip pocket so she can put like her iPad or, I don't know if she reads, maybe a Kindle, inside of it, just a little slip pocket. You could divide the slip pocket. Anyways, it's a long story, but we're going to go ahead and build the lining side of this before we move on to our gusset. Okay, I've just rough cut a piece of foam and put it in here. You can cut it out of the seam allowances if you want to. I'm going to leave it in the seam allowances and then just trim it down. But first what I'm going to do is top stitch along this edge. Okay, now we're going to line this up on the bottom. Now we're going to baste along this bottom edge here. Okay, now that this slip pocket is basted on, and it's a little squishy one for like a tech sleeve, we're going to do the same thing and baste the liner onto the back panel. So go ahead and do that now. Okay, so our entire back panel is complete. Now we're going to move on to building the gusset ring. This turned out way cute. Love it! Now we're going to build the side pockets, or put the gusset together. I'm going to just put a piece of, let's see how long this is. I'm going to put a 5.5 inch piece of fold over elastic. I have 2 5.5 inch pieces of fold over elastic, and I'm just going to put them 2 inches down from one of the short ends, and I am going to baste these in place, and I'm going to pinch this together and put a clip so I don't accidentally sew my excess into my gusset. I have done it more times than I care to admit, so just a little precaution here, okay? Alright. Find the centers of your sides, 5/8 inch up from the bottom and center. We're going to put our template, centering the template on there. And I'm going to draw a line. This does come off this glitter vinyl. Okay, we're going to attach this the same way that we attached the front pocket, and it'll take a minute, so I'm just going to do this off camera, and I'll get you back here when both of these are attached to their sides. We're going to, sorry, I moved you, damn. We're going to make the zipper gusset ring. First we're gonna, so you're gonna need all those pieces is the point of me even saying that. First we're gonna build the bottom of the ring So take your bottom and your, so the bottom of your side, what are these called? Side pockets? Yeah. You've got to clip them together, and this is going to be with a 3/8 inch seam allowance that we're sewing them together. It's kind of a tight squeeze, but I know you can do it. You might need a zipper foot because this pocket's in the way. Depending on what your pocket material is, you might be able to just like smush it down, which I think I can. Alright, so let's sew that. Okay, then fold it over. We're going to put the seam allowance underneath the bottom. I know it kind of seems, oh, let's see. Yeah, it's going to be too hard to stitch right here. So stitch on the bottom. Pull the seam allowance under the bottom and stitch on the bottom. If you wanted to add purse feet, the time to do it would have been before this step. Sorry, meant to mention that. Alright, repeat the same on the other side over here. So you're going to take your base of your lining and attach it to your side of your lining. And it's the same seam allowance. It's 3/8 of an inch. But this time I tuck the base underneath the side pockets so they kind of will nest together with the exterior when they're chilling together. You're going to have like a little hug session. So let's sew these with a 3/8 inch. I am trimming down my seam allowances so that when I'm putting the gusset onto the main panel, it's a little thinner in some spots. And then we're just going to keep that seam allowance behind the side panel. You can see we have these little water bottle sleeves, and I kind of kept them towards the top, right, for the water bottle. So just verify these two things are the same size. In length, and they are. I'm just triple checking, not that they've ever been anything but correct, but do you see how they nest in there now? Yeah. Okay, so now let's do the zipper part. And this is pretty simple. Find the centers of all of your pieces, including your zipper. I do not cut snips into my zipper, rather I use an air erasing marker. Take an exterior panel right side up and run a length of double stick tape down the long edge. Lay your zipper right side down, matching your centers. Right, now go ahead and put another length of double stick tape and put your liner right side down and sew this with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Fold back your liner and then fold back your exterior. And then we're going to top stitch on the exterior 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, the folded edge of the right here. And then you're going to repeat that same step for the opposite side. Now we're going to add on our zipper pulls. I did a double zip. If you want to do just one, obviously you can, but this is big enough that a double is nice, in my opinion. There's our zipper gusset. So grab your two bottom portions, your liner and your exterior. And one thing I wanted to note on this, if you want, you could just create this as one panel. You don't need to make 3. Now take your bottom exterior and you're gonna unzip your pocket and smush your pocket out of the way. And then I have glitter vinyl, so it's very sticky to itself. But go ahead and clip this on one side so it's right sides together with the exteriors. And then on the liner side, put your liner right side down. Okay, sew this together with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Go ahead and trim away your side seam here a little bit. And I'm gonna trim down all this extra overhang personally. You don't have to, but you can. Now fold back your lining from your zipper panel and your now I don't think I'm gonna have room to top stitch. Yeah, maybe if I could just top stitch the sides here with a zipper foot. Maybe you can move this down another 1/8 of an inch. It's just a tight fit for that pocket, but you could move this down 1/8 inch. You don't really even need to top stitch that if you don't want to either. I'm just gonna do it right here on the sides, and then you're gonna repeat the same thing for the other side of this gusset. Okay, now that our gusset ring is complete, we're gonna go ahead and sew up all these sides and close them up. If you want to slide in extra stabilizer, now is the time to do that. I don't think it needs it personally, but you could add some boning in here if you want. Alright, so let's go ahead and seal this up. The gusset is now complete. I'm still keeping these on until I attach the front and the back so I don't this is why. I've done this before many times. And I accidentally like sew this like that. And then it's like a little too tight for a water bottle, so this is my little hack to make sure this stays nice and tight and I don't sew over this the wrong way. You're going to want to find the centers of your top and your bottom. I know it's a little hard, but if you can, just kind of maneuver it. I always like to do this after I sew the gusset ring because I could mark it beforehand, but it's a possibility it might change. There's room for error on my part, so yeah. And find the center of your top, and you're going to do this on both sides. My liner's a little short on one side. It's okay. Alright, repeat that for both sides. Now you're going to get your either front or back, but you need to decide now which way you want your poles to go. Do you want your pockets to close with the zippers to the front? Or do you want your pockets to close with the zippers to the back? Either one is up to you. They're both cool. You just gotta pick if that's important to you. I'm gonna do these with my pockets going, let's see. I'm gonna do it with my poles going to the front. So I'm gonna attach my front to the side with the poles on when they're closed. And you're just gonna line up all your center markings and pin this down. Clip this down, going all the way around. You can cut little snips in your gusset if you'd like. It's up to you. I have everything clipped together. The gusset fits really nice. Make sure you look and make sure everything's like even, you know. I did pull the zippers. I'm gonna unzip this front pocket. I'm using glitter vinyl obviously, and it's sticky to itself. Just like unzip your pockets to make this easier. Now I'm gonna sew with my gusset on my machine bed like this. So my sewing machine will be over on this side. I find this easiest to make the most accurate gusset work, but do whatever you're comfortable with. I'm gonna do an 1/8 inch around the entire thing to baste it. Then I'm going to go around and do a 1/4 inch around the entire thing, and that will actually be my final seam allowance. If you want to do 3/8 of an inch, you can. It's kind of cutting it close because of these zipper pockets here on the side, but I'm just going to do a 1/4, and then I'm going to wrap my binding around and attach my binding at like a scant 1/4 inch, so it's a little bit less. And then I'll repeat the entire process for the other side. So I did my front first since I have this extra pocket, and it's probably going to be a little bit harder to maneuver. And that way I can stick my hand in here and easily like bunch up the pockets as I need to when I'm sewing around the gusset. So I'm going to go ahead and meet you at the very end when we're going to turn this bag out. Okay, now we're done with our bag. It is bound. I'm going to remove these clips. This bag is a little hard to turn because of all the pockets. That's why I was really saying not to over interface as well. But here we go. Just moving my boning to the front. So with the boning at the front of the zipper panel along here and the binding in the back, it should give it really good structure on this without being too thick. There. See how nice that is with the boning? It doesn't go down at all. The boning's right here, and then this is the binding, so that looks really nice. This is even nicer than the first one I ever made. We did it. You could iron it a bit if you need to. I'm just gonna probably do a blow dryer, but and then we just added the little hang strap here. I do like this a lot without the handles on the front. It's just a perfect little bag. Thank you so much for sewing with me today. Wasn't that nice? It turned out so good. I love it. I'm really proud of you. We're gonna keep it up, keep making bags, and keep having fun. Zooby zooby zoo. Zooby zooby zoo.